and welcome back to another Movie Monday. So today I'm stoked because I finally got a chance to see some part twos of movies that I just haven't seen ever. So I finally watched, we'll start with the first one, which is Pet Sematary 2. Right? So I love the original Pet Sematary. I grew up to that. It was one of these movies that scarred me for life, especially with Aunt Zelda. That amazing tendon cut in the back of that foot, and of course Cage being terrifyingly smacked by a truck. So I finally, literally like this past weekend, finally got to see Pet Sematary 2. What a treat. I still really enjoyed it. I don't know why it took me so long to see this one. I think it just, nobody ever talks about it, so I felt like it was my place to stand up and be like, hey guys, go watch Pet Sematary 2. So, first things first, Edward Furlong is in it, which is great, and he's around the same age as he was in Brain Scan. And he does a pretty fantastic job, as always. It's basically him. He has this famous mom and his dad, and they move to this, new town. And what happens is his mom's on set. She's like an actress. She gets electrocuted. And, like, you see this happen. And, like, whoa, of course, the kid's scarred for life. Like, he was really close to his mom. So now he's trying to adapt into, like, being a teenager in this new town. And people were kind of, like, being, like, rude to him anyways. Anyways. Yet he has this buddy. I love his friend. I forget his name. And that guy has a really awesome looking dog. It's like a husky-ish looking dog. And he has probably the biggest dick of a stepdad ever. So this reminds me, side note, I'm going to have to find the subreddit and drop it here. I'm going to hunt for you guys. But there was a subreddit posted, and it was like, what movie villains, like, just irk you? Like, what are some characters in films that, like, you absolutely hate? And honestly, my brain went back to this as I was watching this, because I'm like, I fucking hate this guy so much. Like, so much. So this stepdad to this poor kid who's, like, his best friend, his only best friend in town, right? Edward Furlong's only best friend. His stepdad is the biggest dick, and he's, like, a cop. But he's just, like, the worst, like, literally the worst, to the point where it's like the dog runs outside, and of course he rather than just being like, oh shit kid, go get your dog, he's outside again, just shoots the dog. Like, anyways, there's so many moments that you're just like, I freaking hate this guy. Like, I feel like you guys need to watch it and just tell me if you hate him as much as I do, please. So this movie is great because remember the original Pet Sematary. They're trying to bring back, obviously, Cage, the kid, right? That's why he ends up burying it in that ancient burial ground to hope that he comes back. And we all know the rules of Pet Sematary. You don't do that. You just don't, especially not humans. Don't do it. They're going to come back all wonky. Shit's going to be bad. And this follows through with it, right? So, of course, you have a moment where the kid's like, well, I'm going to try burying my dog. And, of course, these other things do get buried, and it just gets progressively worse and worse. Now, it wasn't as scary as the original. I feel like the original had a lot of really good makeups and just sort of like jump scares too. Whereas this one, it got really creative. There were some really good kills in it, I won't lie. And just like the story was a bit different, which was fun. Again, like, who doesn't want to hate that stepdad? But again, definitely worth watching. It's not worth just kind of like overseeing and maybe jumping to the new ones. I would definitely say rewatch the first and rewatch the second. Give it the time it deserves because it was pretty good. Yeah. All right. For my second movie, I know. Look at me. I'm on a roll with these part twos of films every now and then. So, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Okay, I am somebody who absolutely adores the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre from '74. Now, I've watched a lot of the newer ones, and then when it comes to like that, like early kind of like the sequencing to them, I hopped over them. So here I was, and I'm like, you know what? I need to see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It's been a while. I feel like I threw it on some time ago and then I just didn't really remember it. So perfect. What a movie. So it is so not the first film, right? You watch the first film, and unlike Pet Sematary, where the vibe kind of keeps going, it's similar. This one, they go full, like, almost like B silly horror movie. Like, it gets to be a bit like Bananas. Literally, B-A. Anyways, so you have the family, the Sawyer family, kind of going around and just wreaking havoc, right? And it kind of gets known like right away, where you're like, okay, like you're dealing with some girl at a radio station who's doing her thing, and they come in, like the brothers, right? And they are so, just the attitude that you get from that one guy, I forget his name, but he's got like his like balding spots and his little cool glasses, like a hippie. He plays it so good, so creepy, and it's just fantastic. Like, he'd be like, I'm your number one fan, and it's kind of like she basically witnessed who they killed the other night, and she recorded it because it was somebody who called in. And they are like, oh my goodness, this girl has the tape. We need to kind of get to her to make sure that, you know, Bubba doesn't get taken down. And then this turns into like a whole love story where freaking Bubba, aka Leatherface, is like in love with her. It's so great. It's one of these like, you need to, like, it's like a light-hearted, ridiculous movie. And of course Dennis Hopper's in it, right? Which is fantastic. It's like, what is Dennis Hopper doing here? I don't know. I don't care. I'm just happy that he's there. And it's just like a wild ride. And I love how they take you into like where they live. And rather than it just being like this big house, you know, that we were used to in the kind of like in a farm, it's almost like they live amongst this like junkyard, and it's like an underground junkyard. It almost feels a bit Mad Maxy in a weird way. Anyways, the set is fantastic. I don't know if that set still exists somewhere, or if that's like a maze that we can do, because I'd be so down. It is crazy. Everything about this film is bananas. Again, lots of blood, lots of chainsaws, and just pure fun. Yeah, like, and I understand where if there is some people that love the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise that then watch this and they're like, oh, this one's too much. I get that, because it's definitely different from the OG. But I would love to know your guys' thoughts. Do you love the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2? And just the path it took? Or are you guys like, absolutely not, skip it, go to the next? Thank you guys so much for joining this evening. If you're subscribed, thank you so much. And if you're not, get on it, be a part of the fam, and never be shy to drop any kind of suggestions or like commentary down in the comments, because that's what we're here for. We're here to talk about movies, because that's what we love. All right, my dudes. You guys have a wicked rest of your week, and we'll see you soon.